Mm-hmm.
Lufkin, sir.
It's live. What's going on, brother?
Live.
What's going on?
I was going to ask about.
I sense a disturbance in the force, Lord Tazadak.
All right. Now, what was your question?
I was going to ask how much you possibly love for.
Oh yeah, you asked me that after class. All right, all right, all right. It is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Under commanding General YAHANNA. It is Monday, the history breakdown class, where we break it down line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. All right, well, first of all, clap it up. Let's clap it up. Let's clap it up. You know what I'm saying? Let's clap it up. You know, it's a glorious Monday, the day after Hebrew Academy. You know, we got some Hebrew Academy initiates in here, you know. How y'all feeling, man? Feeling good? Feeling great? You said what? Oh man, you know, it is a glorious time. Uh it will definitely be a glorious experience, something that you will definitely take with you. The lessons learned, skills learned, and also uh the spiritual and discerning matters that you will ascertain uh as you continue through the ongoing weeks. You know, just want to commend all of you brothers for your choice, voluntary choice, to make a commitment, to be better men, um, not only for yourselves, for the nation, and also to be better priests in serving your nation and serving the Lord. All right, so get out of hand. You know what I'm saying? All right. So we are almost done with Genesis. We are in 49. It's only one more chapter after this. As my wife said, we've been in Genesis for 2 years. Uh, but hey, we're here. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't know, as far as like backtrack, as far as like where we are, essentially, uh, we post famine. You know what I'm saying? Um, we done been in famine for 7 years. The entire known world has lost everything, right? The lesson that we did a comparison study with side by side, um, is to analyze a fall in society and the order and organization in which things fall in decay and fall into dissension and full on chaos, right? And how important that is to know today, as far as like what's going on in line with prophecy, as we're going into the time will Christ will triumphantly return and restore the rightful world order. I won't even call it a new world order. I'll call it the old world order, right? But it is very important for you to know these things in order to discern the times, right? So I just, I always do a recap. Want y'all to blow my mind, you know what I'm saying? So I know that you guys were listening in what we were going over, right? So what is the first sign of a demise or a famine in society? What's the first sign? It's a specific resource. All the signs are resources. Oh, so why you hit the power button on the back of the deal? All right, go ahead. Nope, that's not the first one. It's not the first one. Anybody else want to take a shot? Currency, right? So the first thing that's going to fall is going to be the financial marketplace, right? So all the money will fail, right? what's very interesting about that, like I stated, in previous class, just doing a quick recap, that's where we are currently. That's why there's so much inflation in the marketplace right now. That's why a loaf of bread is equivalent to a gallon of gas, which is insane, right? So the more things are inflated, right, the less things are of value, right? So prices will skyrocket. Okay. Okay, so that was the first thing. What was the second thing? So it was money. What was the second thing? The land, right? So no, actually, no, that wasn't the second thing. Cattle, livestock, right? Because once money is gone, now it's more of like bartering, right? You got, some blankets, I got a goat. You know what I'm saying? It's cold outside. What is a goat gonna do for me in this blistering cold right now? You know what I'm saying? So I give you a goat so y'all can eat it. Y'all give us some blankets so we can stay warm. You know what I'm saying? But in this case, they were trading their livestock for corn so that they wouldn't die. You understand? So they acquired all of the livestock. So things there that's just to let you know there will be an uneven balance of scale of worth because there's no money to set centrifugal value, right? So there will be an uneven balance, which is what's stated in the book of Revelations, right? Okay. Okay, so what was the third thing? You said it already, Suwadi. The land, right? So yeah, make sure the knob is all the way down in the back of the yeah. There you go. There you go. All right. So the land, so people like the whole entire land of Egypt, the entire country of Canaan was given up for corn. Imagine getting somebody giving you 40 acres for bushels of corn. That's crazy. It's insane. But that's what's happening, right? And then when there's no more money, no more livestock to trade, and there's no more land that can be given, that can be traded, what's the last commodity that people sell? Themselves, right? Yakaba, come check. Grab the microphone, and I think the knob on the back of the receiver right there, it might be turned down. Is it on?
Test.
All right, and then the second knob, just turn it down a smidget, just a smidget right there. There you go. Bam, perfect. All right, so we back into it. All right, cool. So, all right, so what was the last thing that people sell when everything else is gone? Themselves, right? So people are going to be selling their bodies. Remember, I said when the lights go off, what's y'all about what I say is going to be the number one currency when the power go out? What I say the number one currency was going to be?
Water.
You know what I'm saying? People going to be pee popping on a handstand for water. It's going to have a whole new meaning to making it rain. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? People just going to be wishing for thirst. Food is going to be so dire and spread out. You're just gonna be looking for water just to be able to just walk, just to be able to survive. You understand? So this is the order and dissension of society, right? So this is what's taking place. And every time that we've gone into captivity, into a strange land, we come out even more wealthier and in a better position than when we were when we went in. But the only way that happens is you have to be consistent in serving the Lord. You understand? You have to be in the right position for the Lord to use you. And in order to be in that position, you're going to go through a lot of hell. You're going to take a lot of losses, right? Because in order to be a true king or a true leader or a true priest of integrity, you have to be able to understand the people that you are serving. Because in order to be a leader, first thing you have to understand that you are the biggest servant. All right. Joseph was number 2 under Pharaoh. Number 2. Right. And when the world went to crap and everybody came to Pharaoh, what did Pharaoh tell them? Anybody remember? Go ahead, nephew.
He said, talk to Joseph.
He said what?
Talk to Joseph.
Talk to Joseph. You know what I'm saying? And Joseph had to feed an entire country. Like, imagine, like, we ain't just talking about Texas. Imagine a famine for 7 years sweeps through the United States. You understand? And they got to come to Commanding General YAHANNA. The President of the United States said, look, I can't call it. Y'all holler at CGY. You know, say go give him a nickname. Y'all go holler at Commanding General YAHANNA. You understand? And Commanding General YAHANNA, not only did he have to feed his people, but he had to feed the people that was oppressing his people. Had to feed the people that were enemies of his people. You understand? So that is the mindset that you have to have, because when you become in a place of rulership, understand that there's going to be a relegated serving class. Matter of fact, go to Isaiah 14:1. Anybody? Come on.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob.
He will do what?
For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob.
Uh-huh.
And will yet choose Israel.
Mm-hmm. Keep reading.
And set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them.
Say that one more time.
And the strangers shall be joined with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
They're going to do what?
Cleave to the house of Jacob.
What does it mean to cleave?
To stick with.
So basically to be bind or yoked to, right? Keep reading.
Verse 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place.
Mm-hmm.
And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
For servants.
For what?
For servants.
For what?
For servants.
For what?
For servants.
Mm-hmm.
And handmaids.
Mm-hmm.
And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
Uh-huh.
And they shall rule over their oppressors.
They shall do what?
They shall rule over their oppressors.
So when the time comes, the roles will be reversed. Right? So one thing that you got to understand is what is going to take for that to happen. And that's why the story of Joseph is so heavy. The world had to end for an Israelite to come to a position of power. That's how much the world hates you. In order for us to move back into a position of power, the known world has to end. That's the story, bro. You understand? Like, and that's what you need to have in your mind. Like, you shouldn't be hoping that we don't go to war, that World War III does not happen. You should be wishing and praying for it, because out of the ashes of this world, this age, this society, this nation, you are able to produce your own. You are able to build your own. And it only takes it can all, like, there, you cannot have peace without war. You need to understand that. That's why the scripture says that the Lord is a man of war. You cannot have peace without war. So you need to constantly have war on your mind, because your oppressor, that is his tactic. Even though it is subtle, he knows you're his enemy. You had something you want to say, Sapar?
It was so heavy that you said that, like, for us to come to power, there has to be war. If you look through our history, just back in the 1920s, see all those fascist dictators that came to power in Europe, they came to power by war.
Every single last one of them.
Huh.
Hitler came to power by what? War. You understand? Stalin came to power by what? War. Churchill came to power by what? War. You know what I'm saying? Like, the USSR, they came to power by what? War. You understand? The Ming dynasties came to power by what? War. That's why I said it's called dynasties. I mean, they were undefeated. The Mongols came to power by what? War. How did the Persians get power? War. Babylon. War. Assyria. War. The Assyrians. War. The Greeks. War. The Romans. War. You understand? Every age of society becomes the dominant age of society by rebellion and going to war. You understand? The United States is in power because they rebelled against their own people, England, and they went to war. And that's why and I just want y'all to pay attention in this presidential election. No matter who gets voted in, the first declaration that the president is going to make when they are elected, they are going to declare a state of emergency. That is the only way that this system is able to work. That's why they operate off of debt. That's why the dollar bill is not money, it's not currency, it's an IOU. It is a debt instrument. It is war script. It is basically a promissory. It is a check and balance when everything is supposed to settle up. This is just me saying that this is a 1 in a ledger. This is a 5 in a ledger. This is a 10 in a ledger. You understand? So there is, and that's a diabolical thing right now. You feel me? Like, that's how diabolical they are. They have you fighting over things that aren't real. Like, you think that money is paper. You understand? All it is a representation of a debt instrument. It is a bond. That's why it's a signature on it. You understand? It represents a debt. That's why it's used as a monetary instrument, because it represents a value that is owed. That's why when you can't pay the value, you go where? To jail. That's why that's why somebody got to post your bond, the amount that you owe. You understand? So these are the things that you have to know, right? Keep reading in Isaiah. I think you had verse 3.
Verse 3. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest.
Shall do what?
Shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. Verse 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon.
Against the who?
Against the king of Babylon. And say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Verse 5. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked.
The staff of the what?
Of the wicked.
Of the what?
Of the wicked. And the scepter of the rulers.
You understand? So in order for them to have rulership over us, we have to bend the knee under the scepter of wickedness. And that is what we have continually done. That's why pornography is so easily accessible. All you got to do is turn on the X app. It's crazy that it's named X now instead of Twitter, because that's all that's on there when you scroll is XXX. You understand? OnlyFans. Hell, Instagram is getting bad. You understand? Shoot, Facebook, if you click on the wrong feed, you know, Lord be with you. You understand? They are pushing debauchery because as long as you're under the scepter of wickedness, they can control you. This is why they don't want you to know who you are, because the minute that you know who you are and you start acting accordingly, they will become your servants, who they've always been, and you've been allowing the servants to run amok in your father's house. That's why the world is in chaos. That's why when the Lord comes, he coming with fire. Come with that fire, fire. You know what I'm saying? So in order to set order, you have to understand we're going into a time of war. Right now, it's psychological and spiritual, but it is going to transform into a physical warfare. Like right now, you don't have to confess, you don't have to denounce Christ or die. Right now, you don't have to denounce Christ or go to prison or be waterboarded or tortured or have your fingernails pulled out, drawn and quartered. You know what I'm saying? Right now, all you have to do is make a choice. But that time is coming because it is prophesied. Matter of fact, go to Revelations 2 and 10. I think it starts at Revelations 2 and 10, right after 2:9. Go there with you. Yeah. Start at verse 10. Yeah.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 2, verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison.
He shall do what?
Shall cast some of you into prison.
Remember the question that I asked you when we were going over the story of Joseph and his family. Are you willing to, or could you spend 15 to 20 years in prison to know that you and your family will be set forever? What if that 15 to 20 year prison sentence came when you were 60 years old? That's heavy. What if it came when you were 75 years old? And you would be guaranteed to see each day, day for day. Imagine being 75 years old and being sentenced to prison. 15 to 20 years. And because you serve the Lord, you're going to see every day of that sentence. But the kicker is when you come out, you and your family are set forever because you did not denounce Christ. You did not denounce the Most High God. Keep reading.
That ye may be tried,
Mm-hmm.
and ye shall have tribulation 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Be thou faithful unto death.
Unto what?
Unto death.
Unto what?
Unto death.
Uh-huh.
And I will give thee a crown of life.
That's the mindset that you have to have. Like what Cap brought out was so heavy. He said that in the other religions, because you know Muslims, they're not allowed to eat pork, right? Just like us, we don't eat unclean things. But in the Quran, unless you're about to die, that is the only exception that you're allowed to eat pork. It's the only exception that you're allowed to eat shrimp, crab, lobster. right? Unclean meats. If you are on the brink of death and all there's around to eat is unclean animals, you're okay to eat it. But the God of the Bible, he'd rather you die in your righteousness. Go ahead, Support.
Like, so that's so heavy. Like, if you're about to die, what situation you will be in where there's a pork chop sandwich around?
Come on, bro.
You know what I
mean? You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying,
bro. Look. Hey. It was a post. Somebody posted a hamburger where the buns was 2 fried pork chops, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you about to die and somebody's gonna come with a platter of, oh, here's a double cheese pork chop burger. Would you like to live? It's not gonna happen like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, on the post, people was like, look, kill me, because I'm gonna have at it. One brother said, I've lived a good life. I've ran a good race. You know what I'm saying? Today is my day. You feel me? Over a double cheeseburger pork chop sandwich. You know what I'm saying? And like the caption on our post was, just say you want to die. Because everything about that meal says death. High cholesterol. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just screams hypertension, high blood pressure, cardiac arrest. You understand? But the Lord of the Bible would rather you suffer unto death, because what comes with that is a crown of life. Like, you got to understand the type of power that you serve. Does anybody know the story of Stephen? Who's Stephen? Anybody know who Stephen was? Go ahead. Either one of y'all. Go ahead, support.
It's like Stephen was the brother that got stoned when he was cutting the crowd when he broke down all the scriptures from Genesis all the way to the moment he was stoned.
Now, this is the so remember the scripture says to be faithful unto death to get a crown of life, right? So Sapar, my question to you, since you're familiar with the story, at the moment of his death, what did he see?
It's like, so that'd be Acts 7:55 when he seen Christ standing on the right hand of the Most High.
Get that brother a hand. You understand? At that moment, Stephen was at peace because he knew not only that his father and his king was there for him, but he knew what the transition was that was about to happen. And he was secure. And he welcomed death. You gotta be like them boys and their mother in the book of Maccabees. You understand? That was fried alive in the skillet. You understand? And when the mother was about to die, and she looked to her son, the youngest one that was left, and she told him to die with honor, like the rest of her brothers. That's the mindset that you have to have. You have to be unmovable, unshakable. That is the only way that you will rise with honor, if you're willing to die with it. All right. So that was the recap. Let's jump into Genesis 49, which is a very important chapter because it helps you understand why the nation of Israel is the way it is, and why these banners that are up here, why they have such sigils. Go ahead.
No, I just had a question about Revelations 2:10, about the part where it said, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days.
Right. So I I got you. Give me let's see. Give me 2 Peter 3 and 8.
This is the book of 2 Peter, chapter 3, verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years.
Say that one more time.
But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years.
You understand? So basically, this is to let you know is that time that you're going to be in tribulation is going to seem to the Lord is going to be like 10 days. But for you, it's going to be like an eternity. And that's why he's saying you have to suffer unto death. Because some of us are going to be thrown in prison. Some of us are going to be tortured to death, right? All of this has to take place before Christ comes. You understand? We got to go through Jacob's trouble. We living through that. You understand? We have to. All these things have to take place in order for Christ. It has to get exceedingly, extremely bad, like the scripture prophesied, where it said that the Lord had to send Christ because if he didn't, there would be no one else to save. So that lets you know that it is going to profusely get worse. It's almost to like, it's to the point now with social media, TikTok, all this misinformation going around, it's almost hard for you to discern what the truth is. So imagine if you didn't have this as a compass. If you didn't like you would like, matter of fact, give me go to Isaiah 5 and 20. Book of Isaiah chapter 5 verse 20. This is what we living in right now.
This is the book of Isaiah chapter 5 verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
Woe unto them that call evil good,
Mm-hmm.
and good evil,
Mm-hmm.
that put darkness for light,
Mm-hmm.
and light for darkness,
Mm-hmm.
that put bitter for sweet,
Mm-hmm.
and sweet for bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 21. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes.
Say that one more time.
Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes.
Keep reading.
And prudent in their own sight.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 22. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, and men of strength to mingle strong drink.
This is the age that we're living in right now. We are living in the age of drunken debauchery. You understand? Everything is about getting drunk, turning up, having sex, having orgies. Like when we were younger, they didn't have that many festivals, right? Like in Houston, like the only festival that we had was a livestock show and rodeo. Not everything is a fest. You understand? Like, you know, reggae fest, Hennessy fest. I mean, it's just too many festivals to count now, right? It's just festivals for no absolute reason whatsoever. But a festival is an excuse for drunken debauchery to take place. You understand? That's, you know, like Bacchanalia, which is Mardi Gras. You understand? Like, what you have to understand is they're making it this way because they want you to go down with the ship. You understand? And what does woe mean? Destruction, right? It's woe unto those that call evil good and good evil. And what's the crazy part is everybody knows better. You can't sit here and tell me that smoking cigarettes is good. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that smoking Blackie Miles or cigars is good when literally on the side of the pack, it doesn't say may, possibly. It says smoking will cause cancer. You understand? Like, it's to the point now where everything when I was growing, like it to see somebody kiss on TV when I was a kid was a big thing. Like, that was intimate. You know what I'm saying? Like, to see somebody in lingerie on TV, that was considered nudity. Like, brother, they got homosexuals going on a spelunking spree. Like, it's just utterly disgusting. And they call it good, but they know it's evil. You got your hand up, support? Okay, no sweat. So this is the state that we're in. And you have to understand that. That's why this book is so important, because it helps you discern the times. If you don't know the times that you in, you are going to get lost in the sauce. That's why it's so hard for you to tell what is reality. You understand? Matter of fact, give me 2 Thessalonians 2:9. Like, you have to understand, like, and it's crazy that like it's veering off into this, you know what I'm saying? But like, this is important because you have to know the state of what a famine is. A famine is a fallen society, and that's where we are. Whoever got 2 Thessalonians 2:9, go ahead and read.
This is the book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders.
And what?
And lying wonders.
And what?
And lying wonders.
You understand? Like, bro, like, if you don't know what Project Bluebeam is, look it up. It's real. You understand? They've done little mock tests of it, like in school gymnasiums. They turned a gymnasium into a roaring ocean and had a silver, a great white whale jump out of the floor of the gymnasium and splash into the floor like it was the ocean. And it looked real. You couldn't tell if it was fake. You understand? He's going to have his own lying signs and wonders. You understand? Like, we are in a very dangerous time. Like, you're not going to be able, after a while, like when this AI release, like they're trying to release it, you're not going to be able to tell what's real or what's fake. One day, you might get a knock on the door and it might be you. And it might be something that's coming to kill you to take your place. Lying signs and wonders. Keep reading in 2 Thessalonians.
Verse 10. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness.
All the what?
All deceivableness of unrighteousness.
Mm-hmm.
In them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
If you don't have the mark of the Lord, you're going to have the mark of the beast. As a man thinketh, so he is. That's why it says that the mark is in your forehead and in your hand. The forehead is your mind, the way you think. The reason why it's in your hands is because you use your hands to work. As a man thinketh, so he is. If you're not filled with the Spirit of the Lord, you're going to be filled with the spirit of Satan. the crazy part is Satan works for the Most High God. And his job is to prove you to be unworthy of your crown. And you can't say that in today's society, it is impossible for you to say that you've never heard of the Bible. As a Black, Hispanic, and Native American, it is almost impossible for you to say, I didn't know. No one told me about the Lord. No one told, I mean, hell, at this point, no one told me that I was an Israelite. It's everywhere now. It's like in every church, you understand, pastors are having closed door conversations about how do we deal with the Hebrew Israelites. Everybody's leaving church and saying that they're an Israelite. How do we combat this? To where they're having sermons combating what they call the Israelite doctrine. Is it the Israelite doctrine or is it what the actual Bible says? If you do not open this book and read for yourself, you will be a fool and you will fall for anything. You will be that person in 2 Thessalonians 2:9, falling for lying signs and wonders. Ooh, someone's descending from the sky in a white robe. It must be Jesus. But that's not how it said that Christ would appear. It said he's going to show up with 20,000 chariots. And he going to have a white woolly fro, you know what I'm saying, with gold down to the paps, with eyes flame of fire, ready to destroy some stuff. When Christ come back, it's not going to be a happy day. The scriptures literally say, woe unto those that hope for the day, that wish for the day of the Lord. Because it will be darkness and there will be no light in it. It's going to be like running from a lion and being chased by a bear. Turn from a bear to go in a house full cover, put your hand on the wall and be bit by a serpent. It means there's nowhere that you're going to be able to hide to escape the wrath and destruction. Like I had a conversation with my mother today. She said something extremely heavy. Everybody know about the merciful, loving God. They forget that he's very wrathful. Like his judgment is final. Scripture says that he's a man of war. The Lord is a killer, brother. He kills for those that he loves. He says, don't fear for the one that can destroy only the flesh, but the one that can destroy the flesh and your soul in hell. Hell is a condition, right? And the thing that you got to understand is, why aren't you tired of living in hell? You have OD'd on distractions. You have OD'd on pleasure to the point to where you can't even see your 6x9 cell no more. You got wallpaper up. You got a 70-inch flat screen. You know what I'm saying? You got the station. You got a cell phone. You know what I'm saying? You got a computer. You got a sound system. You know what I'm saying? You done forgot that you in a cell because you can see what the outside world looks like, so you feel like you free. But it's distracting you from seeing the bars in front of your cell. They've made you comfortable in prison. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are POWs. We are prisoners of war. And you have forgot that. You have forgot the condition of the battle. In slavery, our people knew that the oppressor was the devil that the Bible speaks of. In Jim Crow, our people knew that the oppressor was the devil that the Bible speaks of. Hell, in the civil rights movement, our people knew that the oppressor was the devil that the Bible speaks of. But somehow, some way today, you think they're your friend. I don't understand. All right, let's get to Genesis 49 and 1. And while we had somebody grab Amos 3 and 7, and somebody grab Deuteronomy 4 and 30. Go ahead.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days.
In the what?
In the last days.
So when are the last days?
No.
That's crazy. Jacob is saying this to his sons in Egypt before we even go into captivity in Egypt. This is when, we good in Egypt. He's going to prophesy what is going to become of us in the last days. Then this is why this story is so important, and a lot of people overlook it. Whoever got Amos, read it. You got it? Amos 3 and 7.
This is the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 7. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealed his secret unto his servants, the prophets.
He does what?
He revealed his secret unto his servants, the prophets.
You understand? That is why this is the school of the prophets. This is why when things happen in the world, we're not dismayed, we're not confused, we're not baffled. When people ask us, well, why did this happen? We always have an answer because of the truth. Because it's prophesied. Why is there hurricanes in New York? You understand? And like when I was New York would never get hurricanes, huh? It was always the Gulf Coast from Florida, the Caribbeans, and Mexico. That's it. From Florida to Mexico and the Caribbean islands. That's the only people that got hurricanes. But the scripture says in the last place that there will be earthquakes in diverse places. You understand? These things have to happen. Like, bro, like the earthquakes that they have in California, they're projecting that if the fault lines continue to go how they go, California gonna fall off into the ocean. Huh? And you know what's crazy? If you look at the original maps of America, or what was called Tamari, if you look at those old maps, California was an island. It was an island. It was not one land that was connected to the United States. It was an island that was connected into Mexico. Sounds to me like the Lord is preparing things to go back to the way that they once were. But if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. Like, why do you think it's called the Bay Area? Because that area was once a bay. Oakland was once a bay, like a full bay. Like Oakland wasn't there. It was underwater. But if you don't know these things, that's why the scripture says the things that were written aforetime are for your learning and for your understanding. Everything that you need to know that's going to happen is right here. This is the cheat code. If you in here, you will not be surprised. I promise you. Whether it's AI, chips in your hand to pay for stuff, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. You're not gonna be surprised. robots, all that, you're not gonna be surprised because you just read that when the Antichrist rises, he's gonna have his own lying signs and wonders. If you have someone that can heal you, what you need God and Christ for. If you have someone that can give you housing and food, what you need God and Christ for. If you have someone that can give you portions and rations to take care of your family, what do you need God and Christ for? His own signs and wonders. And they're all lies. Because they all come with a hidden agenda, a catch-22. In order to get this, you have to do this. You have to pay attention. Who's holding Deuteronomy 4 and 30? You're going to read 30 and 31. You're going to drop down to 39 and 40. And then somebody grab Isaiah 39 and 6. Deuteronomy 4 and 30.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 30. When thou art in tribulation.
Say that one more time.
When thou art in tribulation.
What does tribulation mean?
Like going through like a bunch of tests and trials.
It is hard times. Troubles. All right. So when thou art in tribulation, go ahead.
And all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days.
In the what?
The latter days.
In the what?
The latter days.
So it says that in the latter days, like this is in Deuteronomy, right? So Deuteronomy is saying the same thing it's saying in Revelations 2 and 10. That in the last days that there is going to be tribulation. Jacob told his sons way before we went in captivity in Egypt that in the last days it's going to be tribulation. Read.
If thou return to the Lord thy God.
If you do what?
Turn to the Lord thy God. And shall be obedient unto his voice.
And do what?
And shall be obedient unto his voice.
That's the killer. Now, for those that are in Hebrew Academy, outside of the first rule of Hebrew Academy, which means don't die, what was the thing that I was harping on that I had whatchamacallit read? What was the first thing that I said consistently? Go ahead. Do what? In order to be obedient, you have to hearken diligently. And after you hearken diligently, you got to do what? You have to observe. That's the only way that you're able to do. That is the only way that you're able to be obedient. You have to hearken diligently. Like, I'm not saying you can't, you can't watch Netflix, you can't watch Hulu, you can't watch stuff on YouTube. God knows I do. Right? But you cannot neglect the fundamentals. You can't expect to follow God if you don't meditate in Scripture. If in somehow, some way, every day, you're not either listening to a class, you're not, doing some type of daily devotional. And I ain't talking about, one of those guided, with the breakdown for you. You know what I'm saying? You know how they had those little daily devotional books? Yeah, there you go, the daily bread. You know what I'm saying? With a written out Bible study lesson for you. But actually take time to read the word yourself. If you don't have questions, you're not reading. Oh, my wife will come to me, baby, what this mean? Like, I read this don't make sense. What this mean? Oh, that's what it means? Okay. All right, I got it. Put in my notebook. All right. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I know she read it. Because outside of everybody else, you got to remember this is still your own personal journey. Austin Tazadot can't save you. Sawadi can't save you. Malakia can't save you. Sapar has to save Sapar. You have to give account and answer for what you've done or what you haven't done. Now, notice right here in 30, and it said, and shall be obedient unto his voice. It didn't say and sacrifice unto his voice. Because the Lord loves obedience more than sacrifice. Because if somebody that got money, what's the sacrifice? Oh, you want how many cows? You need 20 for the sacrifice? I'll give you 40. That should buy me some grace. Your sacrifice means nothing if you're not obedient. Keep reading. 31.
For the Lord thy God is a merciful God.
Mm-hmm.
He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers which he swore unto them.
This is why Jacob is gathering his sons to him. Because he knows what's about to befall them. Like Abraham, in all of his wisdom, in all of his glory, Abraham was tested. Because he lacked faith. He grew in faith because he was tested. Isaac was tested. He was tested just at the same time his father was tested. Because he had to offer himself up. You think Isaac was like, yeah, Dad, kill me? No. I'm sure he was scared to death when his father drew that knife and had him bound. Because he remembered what his father said. Oh, the Lord will provide a sacrifice. Can you imagine what was going through his head when he was bound and his father drew that knife? And then all of a sudden, in the thicket, you hear bah. That's unwavering faith for you to sacrifice what the Lord promised to you. Do you have that type of faith? Imagine you've been praying forever for the Lord to provide a place for you and your family, land, you know what I'm saying? Finances, you understand? And then when the time comes, you about to close the deal on 40 acres, you understand? On that 40 acres is 3 wells, you offer lake, you understand? And then you done had somebody survey and it's mineral rights on there. You got copper on there. You got zinc. You understand? There's some oil up under there. You understand? And the Lord tells you got to give it up. But you got the money to close. Closing is on Monday. The Lord say you got to give it up. What if that deal that you feel is perfect isn't the perfect deal? Are you willing to make that sacrifice? Because what is perfect to you is not perfect to the Lord. Drop down to 39.
Verse 39. Know therefore this day, and consider it in thine heart, that the Lord, he is God in heaven above, and upon the earth beneath. There is none else.
40.
Thou shalt keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee this day, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, and that thou mayest prolong thy days upon the earth.
this is the thing that most people don't understand. Your decisions affect your children and your grandchildren. Like, you may think that you hitting this quick little lick, you know what I'm saying? Hitting this quick little scheme that you didn't won, you know what I'm saying? You didn't hit this lick for 100 bands, 10 bands, 20 bands, 50 bands, you know what I'm saying? And you flipping it into some diversification. What happens when the Lord, like, let's say, you know, you was running with El Chapo, you know what I'm saying? And you didn't got a couple of bread, you want to get out the game, and you flip this meal into some diversified commercial properties, real estate properties, and you open you up a couple of businesses. You straight, you ain't want for nothing. You square now. You know what I'm saying? And you die and you give this over and you break it up to your sons. The Lord will make your sons fools and they'll squander everything that you built. And they right back in the hood that you tried to leave. That's what you got to understand. Like Solomon said that in Ecclesiastes. What worth is building all of this if you leave it open to a fool? It's vanity. All is vanity. Now, I'm talking about if you really read Ecclesiastes, like you really understand the only thing that's really good is you having a strong drink and a good meal at the end of the day. That's really the only thing that matters. That is a gift from God. It don't matter if it's in a studio apartment or in a mansion. We all do the same thing at the end of the day. Have a strong drink and eat. When you go on vacation, what you go on vacation to do? You just having a strong drink and something to eat in a different scenery. You still break it down, he's still doing the same thing he's doing at home. It just seems nice because it's different scenery, but to them, it's stuff that they see every day. Some of them, they probably don't even understand, why do they come over here? Do they know how corrupt our government is? Do they know how dirty our actual streets are? So they keep them over here in the resorts and the tourist attractions, but when you actually go out into the city, it's the ghetto. Everywhere. The ghetto just happens to have a beach. The ghetto just happens to have mountains. The ghetto just happens to have slopes. You understand? But it's still a ghetto. They struggling over there just like you're struggling over here. Like you talking about you want to go to Reveal, go to the favelas in Brazil. You understand? You talking about you want to go to Kingston, Jamaica? Go to Kingston, go really to Kingston, Jamaica. Go to Pride Rock. Go to Rocktown in Jamaica. You better go out there looking like one of them. When you go out there with a skinny chain, you gonna get robbed. They live like your apartment to them is a mansion because they live in corrugated metal shanties in the middle of the rainforest. Like, come on, man. Give me who got Isaiah 39:6?
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 39, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, the days come that all that is in thine house,
Mm-hmm.
and that which thy fathers have laid up in store unto this day,
Mm-hmm.
shall be carried to Babylon.
Shall be what?
Carried to Babylon.
What does that mean? Read it one more time.
Behold, the days come that all that is in thine house and that which thy father have laid up in store unto this day shall be carried to Babylon.
What does that mean?
Everything that you work for will be given to your enemies.
That's today. Your house that you feel like you didn't pay for. What happens if you don't pay your taxes on that house? They take it, but it's paid off though. You own the house. How can you own something and someone can come and take it? What happens if you don't pay taxes on the land that you own? They do what?
They take it
How can they take it if you own it?
because you ain't paid the taxes. That's what they.
Why do you have to pay taxes on something that you own? What you got there?
Because you don't really own it.
Get that brother a hand. Now, based off of what we learned about famine, why don't you own it? What'd you say? Say what? Say it on the mic. Say it on the mic.
They didn't gave it to somebody else. It don't belong to them either.
Exactly. You understand? Like all they're doing, like when you like what's crazy is, I mean, all of us currently right now, we stay in apartments, right? Okay. On your lease agreement, what are you called? Does anybody know? What? Get that brother a hand. Somebody be reading the contracts they be signing, right? What they call you?
Tenant.
They call you a tenant. All right. Now I'm gonna show you something that's gonna blow your mind. What you think they call you when you sign the lease? When you sign the contract for your mortgage? What do you think you're called on that contract?
Resident?
No, you're called a tenant.
Tenant.
When you sign a contract to purchase land and you get a loan from a bank, what do you think you're called on that contract?
Purchase land. So tenant too?
You're called a tenant. You don't have a allodial title to what you're purchasing. When you get same thing when you get your car, if you don't have the allodial title, like it doesn't matter if you have the deed. If you don't have the allodial title, that means outright ownership. You are a tenant. That means like if you have the allodial title to the land, let's just say for instance, you die, and you know your son goes to go live out in the city, and let's say 3-4 generations go by, and somebody comes and lives on that land and all of that stuff or whatever, and let's say one day your great grandson is going through his grandfather's belongings when he died. He finds this piece of paper. It's like a scroll, and it got like seals on it and stamps and signatures, and he reads it, and it talks about a parcel of land that's framed out by not dimensions, not lots, but it's framed out by boundaries. See, that lets you know if when you buy something, if it's an allodial or not. If you buy something from a bank, it's going to have a lot number. There's no such thing as lots. There's no imaginary lines on the ground. If you truly own something, it's framed out by boundaries. So from this river 2 miles east 3 miles west, 4 miles south, that is the land of such and such, outright sold by XYZ, and it's sealed and stamped. And if your great grandson finds that scroll that's been kept in your family, and he looks it up, and then he types that in, and let's just say there's a condominium, a skyrise condominium that's like 75 stories, that's worth $60 million. Guess what? Your great grandson just immediately became the landlord. It's the difference between ownership and you giving everything over to Babylon. The Lord is coming back to give you back ownership. You've been operating as a tenant. You're not free. We established that 5 classes ago when we found out that this country ain't been in a positive above board in deficit since 1835. The Emancipation Proclamation was 1863. It didn't come official until 1865, which means you've never been free. That house you own is not yours. It is the United States of America, because this land was sold unwisely by the Native Americans, our brothers, because in our mind, who can own what God made? God owns it. He gave it to us. We live here rent free. I mean, who cares if it's, yeah, you can stay here. So the oppressor's like, so if it's no one's land, let's call it white man's land. Just, nobody owns it. Who cares if we call it white man's land? Right? That river, that water supply right there, nobody owns that. So why don't we call that the White River? That mountain right there, nobody owns that mountain. Let's call it Mount Rushmore. Okay. I like it over here. We can just name things whatever we want. We can just claim whatever we want. That's your wife? Let's call her our wife. Those are your kids? Let's call them our kids. You fish. You love fishing, right? Well, let's just call what you do a job. And you punch in to do that. And you give me what you catch. And I'll give you, stuff so you can eat for the day just like you do. But you love fishing all day. We'll just call it a job, and you got to clock in and clock out for it. I mean, you already be out there 8 hours fishing. Let's just say you fish for me. I'm hungry. I'm over here, claiming, building white man's land, and you already fishing, and I mean, you're fishing way more than you and your family can eat, and then, you give it to me. You give me a percentage of what you're fishing. You know what I'm saying? So me and my people can eat, we'll just call it a job. Okay. And if you don't do your job, I can fire you. Well, what's firing? Well, it's when you can't fish at the watering hole that you're used to fishing at, and you got to fish at another watering hole because it's in the White River, my river. I mean, because nobody owns it, right? So if it's mine, I mean, I have a right to say who can fish in my river, correct? That's how it goes. Everything that you and your father owns will go to Babylon. That is why you pay taxes, because you don't own anything. You don't own the land. You pay taxes to who owns the land. Even when you buy a house, you don't own it. You need to understand that. That is why you have to have a mindset of war. Because when you have that, you know the truth. The scripture says that oppression makes a wise man mad, but a gift will destroy the heart. You have been OD'd on gifts. It makes me laugh when I see people when they they do the little closing pictures, they both holding the big key and all of that stuff or whatever. You just a tenant. You don't own it. Now, it's different if it's an investment property and you're getting residual off of it and you're looking at it as an investment, you understand, to make money, to leverage the debt that you already have. But when you just a huge tenant that instead of having someone else incur the responsibility of the property, you're just saying, hey, I'm gonna pay for everything. Something break, I'm gonna fix it. I'm not gonna call JP. JP say, no, you got it. I ain't gonna call my nigga Wells. That's Fargo, if y'all, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna call my homeboy Chase. Chase ain't gonna come fix it. Chase say you got it. Because you wanted that Chase Freedom card. Have at it, brother. You have the freedom to take care of my stuff. And if you don't uphold to any of these guidelines in this contract, guess what? I can take it back. And even if you pay it off, guess what? One of your family members are going to slip on the tax payments. Somebody is going to fall on hard times, going to be poor. They're going to be like, what do I need this house for? They're going to sell it. Who's going to come back to? The bank. The house always wins. The crazy thing is, you just move from a 6x9 to a tank. That's it. You just in a bigger cell. And you're in a room inside of a tank, inside of a cell block, inside of a wing, inside of a prison. You so far in the prison, you can't even, you don't even know you there. That's why Christ has to come. And when he comes, he's going to war because you don't even know you're in prison. You can't even see the walls in your cell. This book is a key to know that you're in the matrix. And what Jacob is about to tell his sons is what is to come in the last days. So the more you know about your ancestors, the more you know about yourself. All right. Read verse 7 and 8.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 39, verse 7. And of thy sons that shall issue from thee, which thou shalt begot, shall they take away, and they shall be eunuchs. It's like they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. Verse 8. Then said Hezekiah to Isaiah, good is the word of the Lord which thou hast spoken. Mm-hmm. He said, moreover, for there shall be peace and truth in my day.
You understand? Like, the only way that there's going to be peace is through you following the law, statutes, and commandments. It's the only way that you're going to find peace. But you got to be willing to first and foremost know the conditions of the battle. The more and more you grow in this truth, the more and more you're going to get upset, because the more and more you're going to be able to see the layers of the game. You understand? That's why they pass so much litigation every year after year after year after year, because it's layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of contracts that you have to read through to even understand the game. They've been playing at this game for 500 years. That's why the Lord said what they built, what took them 500 years to build, He's going to destroy it in an hour. He has to. Because otherwise, there'll be no one left to save. Because the layers of the game is so deep, you can't even see them. Like you don't even understand how many contracts you're in a day. And every time you download an app on your phone, you sign a contract. Every time you get an update, you sign a contract. You get car insurance, you're in a contract. You get a car, you're in a contract. You get an apartment, you're in a contract. You understand? The receipt that you get from the grocery store, that's a contract. You got to sign it. Why do you think you have to sign it? It's a contract. You're basically signing that the money that you swipe for, it's good. It's a contract. Checks are a contract. You engage in contracts all day, every day, and you don't even realize it. You literally build the cell around you. And then one day you lose your mind because you mad and you don't understand how you ended up $150,000 in debt and you 35. When you go to school and you get a school loan, it's a contract. You have to know the conditions of the game. When you get a job, what do you sign? A contract. Because best believe, even though you ain't read that code of conduct, when you get that job, guess what? Before you can start your first day, you got to sign that you received it, whether you read it or not. So they can hold you to that code of contract because every company holds their own administrative court based off of their policies and procedures, because they're a corporation just like the United States of America. They can litigate you just like the United States of America. If you steal, you go to jail because you owe the company. If you break something like serious equipment, they fire you. And then when you try to get unemployment, they'll hold a deposition against you, and then they'll put a leverage against your unemployment to where you can't get unemployment so that they can pay for what you broke at the company. And they'll make it to where you won't get unemployment ever again. Ask me. I can't get unemployment because I refuse to pay the $1,800. I refuse for something that was not my fault. And they lied in the deposition. I refuse. I would just save money for a rainy day. I get let go. I got rainy day money, and I get another job, or I'll create one. There are layers to the game. If you do not know the conditions to the battle, you will lose every day of your life because you're on autopilot. That's why the scripture says oppression makes a wise man mad. When you look at things from the eyes and the lens of righteousness, if you do not get upset, there's something wrong. When you go on social media, if there's not something that irks you, there's something wrong. You gotta wake up. That's why I love the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. That's why I pledged myself to Christ here. That's why I became an anointed priest. Because when they turned those blinders off of my eyes, I became enraged. And for anybody that knew me 10 years ago when I came into the truth, I was a zealot. It's just mad. Everything was ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da. You don't know this. You don't know this. You need to do this. You need to do that. Because I was angry. Because I saw oppression for what it was. But you have to be as wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. You have to move with discernment. You read verse. All right, let's go to verse 2 and 49, Genesis 49.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
Gather yourselves together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 4. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defoutest thou it.
Go to Genesis 35 and 22. So we can know what where his actual transgression was. And then somebody pulled Deuteronomy 27 and 20. And then somebody pulled First Chronicles 5 and 1, and we'll stop right there.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 35, verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine,
Mm-hmm.
and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12.
All right. Now somebody read Deuteronomy 27 and 20.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27, verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
Cursed be he that lieth with his father's wife.
Say that one more time.
Cursed be he that lieth with his father's wife.
You understand? So at the moment of his father's death, you understand, he ain't forgot nothing. You know what I'm saying? He let Reuben, think he got away with it. You understand? Let him live. You understand? But because of that, Reuben is his firstborn. And as firstborn, you're supposed to get what? The inheritance. You're supposed to get a double portion of the inheritance. So because of that, he lost his inheritance. And his inheritance went to Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. You understand? Like, don't ever think that you're going to get away with something that you think people don't see. The Lord sees everything. In this situation, Jacob is a representation of the Lord. Reuben thought that his father didn't know. But his father had caught wind. He played it cool. No sweat. Bet. I got you. You focusing on your pleasure and your desire will make you lose your inheritance. You being consumed by your flesh will make you lose your inheritance. You got to focus at all times. You have to have the will to fight at all times. No piece of tail and no rod is worth you losing your inheritance. No drug, no spirit or alcohol is worth you losing your inheritance. I don't care if it's deep fried and laid to the side. No pork, shrimp, crab, or lobster is worth you losing your inheritance. I know Halloween look fun. I know Christmas looks amazing. You understand? I know Mardi Gras looks phenomenal. But no unholy, no Dias dos Muertos, you know what I'm saying? No unholy festival is worth you losing your inheritance. I know Islam looks enticing. I know Buddhism seems peaceful. I know Santeria and voodoo looks like it's some type of mystical power. But I guarantee you, there is no mysticism or no foreign spiritual system that is worth you losing your inheritance. Do not allow your curiosity to get you killed. If it was up to the Lord, you wouldn't know about any of this. We would just be in the garden doing our thing. We'd be like the other animals. You understand? Just doing what we was programmed and designed to do. But no, we had to be curious. We had to know what it was like to do evil, to know what good was. We couldn't just, yeah, we good over here. But no, we had to know what wickedness was to know what good really was. And then the angels, like, they have become like one of us, knowing good and evil. So we got to get you up out of here, my boy. You know what I'm saying? It's only one person around here that know good and evil, and that's me. You got to get up out the house, my boy. You got to go and get it, you know what I'm saying, elbow to elbow. You know what I'm saying? Scrape it up on your own. Got to get up out of daddy house, my boy. Sorry. But when you left, he gave you guidelines so you'd be okay. But you want to dwell in everybody else's guidelines but your own. All right. Somebody give me the last one I asked for. That was First Chronicles 5:1. That's going to tell you what I just told you about Reuben.
First Chronicles chapter 5 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for he was the firstborn,
Mm-hmm.
but for as much as he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given unto the sons of Joseph.
You understand? So, because of what he did, he lost his inheritance, and his brother got a double portion. So, one portion went to Ephraim, and one portion went to Manasseh. And as we go down, as we go through here, we're going to pull precepts of when it came down to when they came into the promised land and how the promised land was divvied up. And you're going to see, based off of size of people and land that was allocated, how the inheritance fell. And if you look at the map, Reuben's piece, even though he had a piece, it wasn't that big. And Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, was double the size of what Reuben got. Don't allow your flesh to get you killed and lose your inheritance. All right. Anybody got any questions, anything like that? What you got, nephew?
Earlier, me and Yakaba was talking, and I wanted to ask, is Harriet Tubman one of us?
Yeah. Why? What would make you think she wasn't?
Cause like when people bring up like Black History Month and everything, it's like, you know, MLK, he's not, he is, but he's not like, you know, it's like everything I've been taught in school so far has been a lie. So I wanted to know if that was true.
Yeah. She was. If I gotta get the name of the book from Captain Zariat. I want to say It's the Slave Chronicles. Don't quote me on that. I got to get the name of the book from Captain Zaryak because he was talking about it the other day. But in that book, it has slave testimonials. It also has first person accounts. And one of the accounts dealing with Harriet Tubman, right? And how she's like one of the first people on record that said we were the children of Israel in that time. You know what I'm saying? That we were Israelites. So that's probably all. And also one thing that you got to understand during Black History Month, which they allow you to have, they will never champion people that stoked up rebellion. You know what I'm saying? Even though I don't agree with his communist ideologies, you'll never see a special on Stokely Carmichael. You know what I'm saying? You'll never. I mean, even though you know about Malcolm X, you don't really see specials on Malcolm X. You don't see specials on Nat Turner. You don't see specials on Denmark Vesey. You don't see specials on W.E.B. Du Bois, even though I don't agree with a lot of his ideologies. You don't see specials on Carter G. Woodson. These names that you probably have barely heard of. You know what I'm saying? You should a good book for you to read is The Miseducation of a Negro. It's a great book for you to read. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hell, you don't even see specials on Marcus Garvey, even though I don't agree with what he taught either. But they all did the best that they could with the information that they had. But these are all peoples that caused uprisings and rebellions. So they're not going to champion that during Black History Month. It's just Martin. You know what I'm saying? The CGLC, Civil Rights Movement, the Selma boycott. They're gonna keep ringing that bell. Non-violence. You know, you don't hear about what's my boy Black Panthers, Fred Hampton and Huey P. You don't see specials on them. And then hell, the movie, what was the Fall of the Black Messiah, whatever it was about. Yeah, Judas and the Black Messiah. It was more about Judas than Huey P. Newton. You know what I'm saying? It was more about the dude that was betrayed. It was really about the dude that betrayed him versus him. They talked about some things about the Black Panther movie. I mean, you don't see any specials on John Africa and the Move movement in Philadelphia. Most people don't even know who that is. I guarantee you, if you look that story up, it will blow your mind. The city blew up an entire city block to get them up out of there because they were attempting to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, but they had a zeal, it just wasn't according to knowledge. But they were extremely educated. Like they were undefeated in the judicial system because they knew the law. So because they knew the law, they studied the law of the land. And some of them still to this day are political prisoners in prison right now. They still have not gone through a righteous trial. And they're just being held. But you've never heard of these people. Well, the movement was called John Africa and the Move movement. Right. But you'll never see specials on these things. You'll never hear about these people because to do research will stoke a spirit of rebellion to fight against the system, for you to educate yourself. Because these people They were young and extremely educated. They didn't waste their time on social media. They didn't waste their time on Netflix, going to the movies. They spent their times in libraries. They studied. They read laws. They read legislation. They knew their enemy's tactics, so they knew when they came up against police how to defeat them. Malcolm had his ideology. Huey P. Newton had his ideology. Martin had his. None of them worked because they didn't have this. They didn't follow this. Until you are willing to submit under your power, you will never succeed against any other power. Go ahead, support.
So like it was so heavy that you said that, because if they was in the scriptures, they would have had the necessary protection of the Most High. But following all these other uh, thoughts and things that's coming from their head, you know, this, you know, it was bound to come how our enemy moves.
Right. And Bazak, he gave the guy's name about who Judas and Black Messiah was about. It was about William O'Neill, the guy that worked for the FBI that ended up killing himself because he got Fred Hampton killed. You understand? Like, again, you don't know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. A good study for you, Malakia, is to research all of the black movements, all of the civil rights movements. There's a whole bunch of them. It ain't just the ones that they talk about. Like, I just gave you a whole bunch of names that you ain't never heard of. You understand? Like, and research their rise and why they fell. It's one common thing. They all fell from within. They were all infiltrated and they were demised by people that looked just like them because they did not have this. How many times has Commander Jerry YAHANNA talked about how the FBI has tried to infiltrate the Israelite School Universe Practice Knowledge? A lot. FBI showing up at brothers' doors to have conversations with them. Hell, one FBI guy tried to come into the school. He ended up joining the school because this is the truth. You can't fake the spirit of the Lord. You can't fake it. You can't. Because we're not inciting riots to have people murder and go out and commit crimes and go out and shoot our oppressor. Because we know that the Lord will destroy this world without us even firing a shot. Because I'm going to tell you what thing the United States government can't box with: a tornado. There's no bomb that they have that can deal with a Category 5 hurricane. What can a missile do to a volcano? What can a tank do to a sinkhole? What can your drones do to a lightning storm? See, it's gonna sound just like that. Like flies hitting the doggone the fly zapper. Getting struck by lightning, coming straight out of air. The United States government, any type of government, any type of power, their arms are too short to box with God. And that's your power. You don't even have to say, I'm gonna do something bad to you. All you gotta say, Lord be with you. That's a threat more powerful than you anybody can say. You got it. Lord be with you. All right. No sweat. Just go on about your day. And then somehow, some way, you're gonna get a phone call. You heard about such and such? You heard what happened to such and such? Man, you heard what happened to her girl? And then you just gonna be like, that's unfortunate. My condolences to their family. May they rise again. And it's unfortunate because it don't got to be that way. My hope is that all of Israel will be saved. I lost my best friend. My last words to him was, if you don't change, the Lord will kill you. This is your last chance. The next phone call I got, he was dead. That was my last conversation with my best friend. And you can ask any brother that's been here for 7 years plus what happened in this school when I got that phone call. I was undone. Because to be a priest and a prophet and to speak that, because you know what happens when you know better and you choose not to do better. I understood in that moment what it talks about in the scriptures when they ripped their clothes because they were in mourning. I could not be bound. I could not be comforted. That's how Christ feels every day when you choose not to serve the Lord, because he knows what's going to happen. You have to die. And imagine your brother, your king, the person that gave up his life for you. His father tells him he has to kill you. And he already died for you. Imagine how that hurts him. The pain that it causes him because of the sacrifice he made for you, and he still got to kill you. That's love. Love is holding you accountable for your actions. That's what a true father does. You think a father wants to kick his son out of the house? You think a father wants to kick his daughter out of the house? But sometimes the world got to teach you a lesson that I can't. And if you die, so be it. That's not on me. Papa did his job. Papa taught you the way you were supposed to go. Mama did her job. She taught you the way you were supposed to go. At this point, it's on you. So either choose to take your shoes off at the door, come in the house before the street lights come on and abide by the rules in your father's house, or stay outside in the darkness and deal what comes with what's in the shadows. And I guarantee you, something lurking in every corner of the kid. Because it's dog eat dog out there outside the doors. All right, with that, Amaju, which means to stand. Sar, which means to turn and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer first in Hebrew, then in English. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayab, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Taba'ah, Ratazayaka, Hayab, Aisha, Ba'aratazah, Kawab, Hayab, Bashamayim, got the London hour, Lakum, Call, Yawam, Wasalak Nawa, Kabawak Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawaki Nawa, Wala'ah, Tabi'ai Nawa, Banasai 1, Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wahala, Wahata Para, La Awalumium, Aman. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Sar, turn to face the front. Give a courtesy salute to the brothers and to the sisters. With a visual. Body Shabbat. Baju. Rock. How about Shim Yahal Shah Brakatah? Got a batah? Sar. Turn to face sister, individual. Body Shabbat. Baju. Rock. How small thou by Shimmy Al Shah. Yada Matah. Dismiss.